Week 5. The Roman Villa. Today we are taking a break from the sweat and noise of the city and visiting my little villa in the Alban Hills. The Alban Hills are a very popular place for well-off Romans to have a second, or third, or fourth, or fifth home, because the hills are a cool and quiet retreat during the summer months. As Macanus, the notoriously pleasure-seeking advisor to Augustus, plaintively remarked, how could it be possible to have a single home that was suitable for all year round? The villa was a symbol of Roman aspiration. Everyone who was someone wanted to have a villa, from Hadrian, who had a villa about the size of a small town on the other side of Rome in the hills of Tivoli, to British chieftains in distant Britannia, who proudly showed off their square buildings as a sign of Romanization. This is a view of some of the remains of Hadrian's villa today. Villas were a feature of Roman culture from the Thames to the Tigris, and because of this, it is very hard to define what a villa looked like. Some 3rd century villas in the Rhinelands were basically small forts complete with towers, and others in rural areas were little more than elegant farmhouses. Still others were sophisticated building complexes, like these remains in Carthage. The Romans recognized the villa urbana, which was a rich man's retreat, and the villa rustica, which was, at least to some degree, a working farm building. Though there were no hard and fast rules, a villa had certain features. For example, they were generally rooms organized around a courtyard with a single entrance to the outside world, rather like this one in Aquincum in modern Hungary. The design allowed some degree of security, as farm villas had slaves and agricultural tools which they needed to keep secure, and a villa urbana had valuable vases and ornaments within. In fact, because one of the purposes of a villa urbana was to display the wealth and taste of its owner, some of the best preserved frescoes and mosaics surviving today come from excavations of Roman villas. This fresco from Bosco Reale shows an imaginary extension of a villa into a painted portico. While here, in Pompeii's Villa dei Misteri, an artificial Corinthian colonnade has been added. While the Romans liked strong colors, often with the predominance of red, some frescoes, such as these ones here, would make a tasteful addition to a modern home. Generally speaking, the Romans did not hang pictures on their walls, but painted the pictures directly on the walls themselves. And with floors like these, would you want carpets? The gardens of the villas were carefully laid out, for the Romans were very conscious of the rural origins of the villa and liked to be as close to nature as possible, or at least to a carefully controlled version of nature. Here's Pliny the Younger talking about his villa in Laurentium in Italy, which is on the coast 17 miles from Rome.
The garden is chiefly planted with fig and mulberry trees, for which this soil is as favourable as it is bad all others. Here is a dining room, which, though it stands away from the sea, enjoys the garden view, which is just as pleasant. 2 apartments run round the back part of it, the windows of which look out upon the entrance of the villa, and into a fine kitchen garden.
And here he is again, still describing the same villa.
You look through the portico into the courtyard, and out upon the woods and distant mountains beyond. On the left hand of this hall, a little further from the sea, lies a large drawing room, and beyond that a second of a smaller size, which has one window open to the rising sun, and another facing where it sets. This room, too, has a view of the sea.
All this sounds idyllic, but villas were not just home to the owner and his family. Every villa supported a large staff of servants and slaves, and often gave an added economic boost to nearby villages. In fact, Pliny's villa got so busy and bustling that he had a special room designed where he could work in peace, away from the noise and hurly-burly of everyday Roman life.